Episode 45, Exercise. Be kind to someone for no particular reason.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
Well, it's actually your very kind host. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the 45th episode, the, ninth exercise of the very best podcast in the world. It is Friday, and I welcome you to Personal Supremacy for health, for health, wealth, and happiness in any case. And today, I think the exercise is not really categorizable, if that is even a word, in that this episode is about kindness. And I know that a lot of people that I've spoken with misinterpret kindness with giving obscene gifts, that kind of kill the budget. Or whatever they think is, paying attention to someone doesn't mean necessarily that you need to break the bank, right? It can be something very simple, like, picking flowers fresh flowers out of the garden for your better half in the summertime, or just really thinking about someone. And if your connection is deep enough, you don't necessarily need to make them aware of that by means of a messenger platform or whatever, but they will just feel it. And I don't know, stupid example, might have been a coincidence. This was many years ago when my grandmother died. We were on this open air festival, and my grandmother had been suffering for months from pancreatic cancer. So she was a mess, really. Had you known my grandmother, she was never a mess, ever. I think she never, ever missed a day of work. And so it was really heartbreaking to see her suffer like an animal, and raised in me the debate about, euthanasia and herself making the decision when to go, while, being pumped full of morphine and not being herself and just being in total misery. A totally different story, though, for another time. Now, this episode is supposed to be about kindness and the connection that you have with people, and to stabilize that. Now, getting back to the example, we were on this open air festival, yada, yada, yada. And my parents were visiting her pretty much every day, and I just needed to get out. I just needed a break from, wrapping my head around this pretty much every day, all day. And so at this festival, the weather was pristine. It was warm throughout the day. The sun had been shining. There was no indication whatsoever that there would be any weather coming up, and not any, severe weather, at least. Living in the north of Germany, you kind of anticipate the weather to shift within, seconds. But there was no severe weather in sight. So long story short, we were partying, getting hammered, and dancing, or I don't know what I was doing. But in any case, lightning struck close by to the place that the festival was taking place. And it was shortly after 1 a.m. in the morning. The power went out for a few minutes, and I felt that this was, out of the ordinary. And long story short, in the morning, my parents came home and said that my grandmother had passed shortly after 1 in the morning. Coincidence? Yeah, whatever. But that's what I'm talking about with this deep connection that you just have to some people. And being kind to someone means also thinking about them, and sending them good thoughts, and being supportive of them. And how do you always say in the show business, break a leg, and just wishing everybody that they are successful in what they do. It's because it's just, it's this it doesn't break your fucking neck, if somebody else gets the contract or whatever. It's like this fierce competition going on for everything in the world, while I don't know, it's totally unnecessary. There's enough food for all of us. And yeah, so I was never really worried if somebody else got the contract that I was also bidding for. I got in touch with him and said, look, good on you. I didn't really feel like it anyhow. It's this kind of feeling that you relay, though, right? I had one contract where, which was just insane. I was on another contract, and this lady kept bugging me about uh, sending a proposal because they were looking for a digital strategy professional for a company in whatever. And anyhow, I always put her on the back burner, and so for days she was bugging me, and I eventually ended up saying, yeah, send me over the specs, I'll send you a proposal. um in the proposal, because I didn't feel like the contract, I took a daily rate that was obscenely over the top, obscenely, because I knew that it would be anywhere between difficult and impossible to fulfill the requirements that they had, from a time perspective. I just didn't have the time left. I would have been working, instead of 16, I would have been working close to 20 hours, 4 hours of sleep, and whatever. And so yeah, it was like, I didn't really feel like it, and I don't know whether she felt that I didn't feel like it or I didn't want it, but the price tag was, for me, I would have never paid that much money for a consultant, but they wanted to, right? So she disclosed the company, and I got on the contract. It was fun, at the end of the day. Let's talk about it. Memorable thing, really cool opportunity to present my skill set, and just run amok on a very loose budget, and created, I don't know, probably in a matter of 5 years, a three-digit million increase in revenue for the client. So overall, it was cool, but I didn't feel like but still, the pieces of the puzzle fell together. So let's get back to today's episode. Sorry that I always get carried away. Now, being kind, it's not about, like I said, spending obscene amounts of money for a gift on someone. If you have someone that has those expectations, they do not know kindness. And when I'm talking about kindness, it was like, many years ago, I was driving to the office, and it was just raining, and I saw on the other side of the road this handicapped person, being walking into town. This was out in the burbs, so he had about another 3 kilometers to walk, and walking looked like it was very difficult for him. I was pressed for time, so in the immediate reaction, I drove by. But then at the next light, I just couldn't stand myself and turned around, picked the dude up into the car. He was soaking wet. He didn't smell very good. But it was just, I don't know. I just felt at that moment, despite the fact that I had appointments and whatever, I needed to give this guy a lift, because he was, he looked like he was seriously suffering while walking. So that's what I mean by, kind of like your random act of kindness, if you will. Or, if you see another thing which I found, I don't know, disgusting, is I was driving again. I think it was to the office, and there was this blind lady with her service dog and her stick, standing on the side of the road, apparently wanting to cross the road. And all of these assholes that were driving by, early in the morning, and they were all on a clock, because they had to clock into their workplace and whatever. You wouldn't imagine how many cars. I was standing at an intersection about to go onto that road. How many cars drove by that lady without even paying attention to her? And I found that so despicable that I actually ended up pulling onto the road, blocking the road, getting out of the car, helping her across the road. And, just it's this random act of kindness, but also you should take that for yourself for granted to help people out like that. It just fucking sucks. If you're an employee somewhere, you're not on a fucking clock. If you're these 30 seconds late to your job and your boss gives you a hard time, yeah, maybe you've got the wrong job, right? But this comes to prove the point that, it doesn't have to be, again, the expensive gift or the diamonds or the gold or the money or the car or the house or the apartment or whatever it is that you think is a gift to another person. It can be something insanely simple, like those things that I just mentioned. These are situations you run by every day. You're not usually aware of them because these people are so humble that they don't ask for help. They'd rather wait there for half an hour until the traffic has settled down, instead of actually proactively asking someone to stop the traffic to see them over the road. And that being said, the challenge of the day is really to get into the present moment, to reach that level of awareness where you see things like that, right? And you see people who need help, or be otherwise kind to someone, for no fucking particular reason, just to be kind. Don't expect anything back, because if you expect something back, it's not an act of kindness, right? Because it's a deal that you're entering then. Kindness, from my understanding, comes kind of like from selflessness, and putting yourself and your priorities behind those of others that are in need of your kindness, or your action. Yeah, in that sense, I think it's insanely important that the challenge of the weekend is, I don't know what it could be, go over to your neighbor's house because, I don't know, they may be suffering or whatever. If you're living in a city, and you don't know your neighbors, just go fucking over there and introduce yourself. Why do you want to live beside someone if you're living in total anonymity? Okay, for some people, I get it. But everyone else, maybe they're nice people. If they're not, what have you lost? Nothing, right? And so it's like the same thing goes for the example that I mentioned with that old lady wanting to cross the road, that blind lady. And I was like, what did I have to lose by helping her? By stopping the other cars, and investing these, 20, 30 seconds to help this lady. And there's so many acts of kindness that you can do. Write a postcard to someone that you haven't spoken to in a very long time. Postcard in today's times is so unexpected that they're probably going to go apeshit or never see it because they don't empty their mailbox anymore, right? Because it's such an antiquity. But it'll be fun to see, when and if they get back to you, right? Or I don't know, is it somebody's birthday today? I don't know, send them flowers. Is there some coworker that didn't really look too well today, or, didn't really anticipate the weekend in a positive sense? Send them, I don't know, a bouquet of flowers or whatever. It's like this, it's the really small things that make people's lives easier and to cheer them up. And I think we're all in a position to invest that little bit of time without damaging our own agenda or whatever. And, if your car gets dirty in the process, what the fuck? You can clean it. Let's be honest, right? And you're not gonna suffer badly from being kind to other people. And once you've done this and you've experienced the gratefulness for small acts like that, you kind of become hooked on it. And with this being hooked on it, you learn to kind of raise your antennas for building connections with people much more deeply, which closes the loop to the example that I mentioned with my grandmother probably telling me with her last breath that she was checking out. Interesting things happen in the world. So in that sense, I wish you a good weekend, filled with kindness, and yeah, be kind to people. Let me know how things work out. I know in comparison to the last ones, this one is rather boring at first glimpse, but at the first glimpse. But you'll see how it starts to reward once you get the hang of it. You know, it's like to see where people need help or need an act of kindness, your random act of kindness. You know, just you get you get used to it, and it feels very good. It's a rewarding feeling, and you know, without investing a lot of time or money, you can actually make a fucking difference in the world. In that sense, have a nice weekend. Sleep well. Keep your hands above the blanket. I don't know. Write me an email how the exercise went for you. If you have any further questions, remarks, or other feedback, please send it to the very best podcast in the world at gmail.com. And yeah, I will see you on Monday, hopefully, at least, as a kinder person. And yeah, peace out.